This is the weekly Firecast, episode 8, Bloggers Roundtable from the Weekend of Fire 2012.
Strap yourselves in. It's time for the weekly Firecast. This is the podcast for all foodies, those who love food that is cooked over a fire or feels like fire in your mouth. If you love spice, smoke, sauce, and all things savory, this is the show for you. And now, here's your host, Chilehead and barbecuer, Scott Roberts.
I want to welcome all you foodies to the latest installment of the weekly Firecast. And if you love fiery foods, hot sauce, barbecue, seasonings, spices, buffalo wings, salsa, you name it, this is your sanctuary in the whole podcast world. If you need your fix, you can get your fill here. Anyway, I want to get right to the meat of the podcast, which is the Bloggers Roundtable discussion. I will forego any review of the week this week, just to keep the podcast at a decent length. Now, the origin of these Bloggers Roundtables started a few years ago. As you may or may not know, there's lots of Chilehead events, hot sauce shows around the country throughout the year. And we found out that one particular show had the biggest turnout from any Chilehead bloggers. That was Jungle Jim's Weekend of Fire, which is in the Cincinnati suburb of Fairfield, Ohio. Years past, it was held in August. Past couple years, it's been in October. But anyway, we figured that since we had a huge turnout of Chileheads, it was only logical that we get together and talk about certain issues, talk about how we review products, talk about issues in the whole fiery foods world. Now, this was recorded for posterity by Brian Mayer, and of course I should include his wife, Marilyn Mayer. Together they run HotSauceDaily.com and the Hot Sauce Weekly podcast. And that particular podcast started about 3 years ago. I've done many reviews for it, and it's still active even though it's not weekly anymore. Anyway, since that first Bloggers Roundtable, we've gotten together probably 4 other times. A couple times at Peppers at the Beach. That event is in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware in May. And the last Weekend of Fire as well. And we always have a great time talking about all kinds of different topics. But unfortunately, Brian Mayer could not make it to record this. So I went ahead and took the reins. I figured, why stop a tradition now, especially since I have my own podcast going? So we got together in a back room at the Oscar Event Center at Jungle Jim's International Market. That's where the Weekend of Fire show is being held. And I want to explain, the first thing we talk about is best new products at the show. There are about 50 vendors in the show, selling hot sauces and barbecue sauces and flavor enhancers and whatnot of all kinds. So we always go around to the different booths and try out what's new. So that's what we're referring to when we get into the topic of what our favorite new products of the show were. But anyway, the bloggers that joined me were Al Buddha Goldenberg of iloveitspicy.com, Joe and Linda Levinson of thehotzoneonline.com, and of course Marilyn Mayer of hotsaucedaily.com. So like I mentioned, we sat in a back room. I had my microphone, my laptop with me, and a rough outline of certain topics that we'd talk about, and, well, here's how the conversation went.
They're alive.
We're alive. And we're alive at the 2012 Weekend of Fire with the 18th annual... Okay, since I said 18th, I can go back and edit that.
Do I have to cut this?
It doesn't matter. We're here at the Bloggers Roundtable. This is probably the 5th or 6th one we've done. It's a lot of fun. It's always a blast doing these. So what we're going to do is just go around the table and introduce ourselves. Of course, I'm Scott Roberts, and to the right of me is...
Marilyn Mayer from hotsaucedaily.com and hotsauceweekly.com. Here representing Brian, who isn't home. Hi, honey.
And we miss him.
Linda Levinson from the Hot Zone Online.
And Joe Levinson, also from the Hot Zone Online.
And Al Buddha Goldenberg from iloveitspicy.com.
Okay, well, we're going to start off here since we're recording this on the day after. We've had like one day to check out the new products here at the show. Obviously, we haven't tried everything. But so far, what do you guys like so far of what's new out there? And I'm going to start across the table with
I
Buddha.
honestly can't remember what he had today. Well, Cajun's pretzel code, as I'm calling it, because I can't pronounce the Q long name, is an improvement upon the Oaxacan. It's a hotter version with ghost pepper, right? And
Yes.
still with serrano peppers. Mm-hmm. It's really, really tasty. And I reckon I'm going to be buying a whole bunch of that before I leave here. And some of the new ones I've had, well, Chad was one I bought with Chad with the wax on it, and I Danse Macabre, is that what he calls it? That one I really liked a lot.
One of those fancy names.
Yeah. And then Aaron's Famous. I've never had his products before. I know they've been around for a while. We've had done reviews for him, but we're waiting for his website to be set up. So it's been in limbo for about 2 years now on the website, never been shown. I love the Rum Boogie or Boogie Woogie Cafe. I don't even know what it was called, to tell you the truth. This is probably too senile to remember. And he had another one I liked, and I can't remember that. And then if anyone can help me remember the other company that was right next to Jester, to the right of Jester. Anyone remember that company?
Right of Jester.
Steria Hot Sauce. I absolutely emphatically in love with that one.
Yeah, we had to look at a map
Yeah,
here.
so I'm just
We have a
too
map
slow.
here at the table.
43,
We're looking
45,
at it.
47.
We're in the Hulu.
I'm sorry to be
Born
the
to
process.
Born to
here, but-
Hula or
Yeah,
LWC?
we'll edit this part
No,
out.
they're on the other side.
I'm already had one of Hulu. I'm talking about new sauces. A lot of good companies here. The strawberry preserves, if you've not had them before, relatively new to the process from Heartbreaking Donuts, is awesome. Especially when you put it on a brownie. I had a little bit of that from the contest yesterday. That was good.
The hot brownie.
A very, very hot brownie. Very hot.
Okay. Joe?
Buddha went out so long I forgot the question. What was it called?
New products.
The best new products of the
The
show.
best new products. I always like to throw bouquets out to Race City Sauce Works. I think that, Chad has put out, everything that he's done new that I absolutely adored. He's got 3 taco sauces, all with names I can't think of right now, but as Buddha mentioned, the Danse Macabre sauce is excellent. He's got a sambal, which is called La Visage de Mort.
Hottest
which is,
sauce in the show.
It is probably
Very
the hottest
hot.
hottest sauce in the show, but it is absolutely excellent.
Very puree-like.
Very much. Really did like some of the sauces from Captain Jim. He has
he had one I
the
liked,
dessert hot sauce, the
The
orange
one.
molten, which was really good. Actually,
Yes.
all the sauces were really
That one I
good.
like the best too. What was it called? Orange what?
Orange
Molten.
molten.
Yeah, I gotta get that
molten
later.
orange,
Yeah, try
something like
that.
that.
Molten orange.
Yeah.
He had some ice cream yesterday. And
Yeah, that was pretty That was good. good with
Really
it.
I don't know. I like it plain as it was. I gotta buy a bottle of that.
And I'm not the biggest barbecue sauce fan, but Chili Rocks had a really wonderful
I
kind
have
of
not had their
all-purpose
products, so I don't know.
barbecue sauce that I really liked. So.
Okay. I'm going to say that I appreciate a lot of vendors having like several new products, so that's been kind of cool and trying them. The things that I've liked so far, I think my favorites are the Quetzalcoatl
Quetzalcoatl.
yeah, whatever
Pretzel.
from Cajun.
How do you pronounce it, Joe?
Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl.
All I know is that the
What was it you
Cajun
said?
people have fully
I'm
accepted
a history geek. I know that. So.
That is an awesome sauce. I love it. And Sauce has some really cool spicy caramel corn, which is very, very cool.
The Moroccan
Yeah,
was
this is
like
very
Yes.
good. Love the
Yes,
Moroccan.
and
Like
they have
curry
different
blend, really tasty.
She has like 3 different brands, and they're all really, really good. So as far as snacks, that's kind of a really cool new snack product. So I like that too. And I haven't been around to some other places, so I'm sure there's
Yes.
more that I'm missing.
We can't
but-
name every product because
Yeah,
we haven't
exactly.
we have to divide the show up into 2
Exactly,
days.
but I would start off with those. Those are really good.
I really like the chocolate sauce that Big Fats brought with them.
I had that last time.
Oh,
man.
love that
I
stuff.
bought a bottle.
That
He
was-
saved me one. Very happy.
Yeah.
Same thing with the 13th Moon from Chad. I'd never had it until the show.
That's
Sold out
awesome.
yesterday, by the way.
Yeah,
Did
he
it
saved me
really?
one too, so I was very happy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was really good. And then there was a new company here, their first time here, Uncle Mike's, with their barbecue sauces. They had like 3 jars left at the end of the day. And
Oh.
their barbecue sauce is really good, and I agree with you, the Chili Rocks barbecue sauce.
I liked their
That Joe,
wing
you
sauce
liked.
too.
Yeah, I haven't
Which
tried
one?
that yet.
The wing sauce from Chili Rocks.
Rocks.
I have to go over there today.
Yeah.
There's 2 companies I really didn't.
Yeah.
They had too many products. I figured I'll save them to day 2.
They had a lot of products over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And there was
Check
another
out the
company
barbecue.
that had a bacon smoked chipotle barbecue sauce that they had kielbasa in a crock pot, and that was the first thing I bought. It was really good. It's like perfect
Yeah,
party.
I
I don't know if anyone's
remember,
tried the
it
pork
was right
belly
along there, I'm
that
trying to
Johnny did
remember.
from Heartbreaking
And the
Donuts.
preserves, yeah.
Oh my god,
might
that
have
was the
been
best thing in the
tasty.
whole
It's
show.
like meat candy.
Oh my god,
Yeah, I
he
have
took
tried
belly,
that.
Yeah.
he took pork belly fat, like basically is what it's called, pork belly, and he marinated it in his preserves and warmed it up, and he served that out. And there wasn't one of the preserves that didn't taste good with. And I could have sat there all day and
I'm
just.
surprised he didn't bring yak with him or something.
Sorry,
He also had
meats,
duck.
yeah.
Cobra.
Yes, he had
Python,
He had
kangaroo,
duck as well. So
beef tongue.
you don't expect
You
to
can
see
cook it all.
duck or anything from anybody.
Here's some ground beef. That would
That
totally
would really
baffle
blow
us
the
from
mind.
Johnny. Myself, just what a lot of the others have already said: the Captain Jim's, the orange sauce, the molten, Race City Sauce Works, the Moroccan caramel popcorn from Sauce Goddess, just a whole bunch. I'm gonna go back later and just kind of go through the whole show, write down what I liked whenever it's time for us to do our voting.
Gotcha.
But why don't you let people know what it is we're voting on?
Well, we're actually going to be voting in two categories. There is the Wolfie Awards here at the show. The general public could go on and vote for particular categories. There are like 5: best hot sauce, best salsa, best barbecue, a couple others. But the bloggers ourselves, we are going to vote on 2 categories: the best new product and the very best of show. So we're going to tabulate the scores ourselves and just probably pick
I would like
1
to talk
through
about
3.
the best of show thing because it's really hard to pick your favorite. I mean, we all have our favorites, and they're all ever going to change from show to show. Although that pretzel could obviously be a favorite permanently at now on. And if it doesn't win best of show, I'm going to backslap you all.
Well, it could just with the dynamic of the bloggers here.
Yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
feel so
we've had different
intimidated
bloggers in the past voting for
Well,
different
you've
things.
slapped.
Right.
So if we do a 1 through 3, that
Yeah,
could
exactly.
really
Yeah.
make it different.
But,
Yeah.
But the best overall every single year, that just becomes this. I'd rather, and since we have Jim Jr. here, in
Taking
the background,
pictures.
you're taking pictures of us. Since we hear all the clapping going on in the background, is to just eliminate that from us, from our end, just saying best of shows. It becomes difficult because Keijon's here every single year, and usually
Right.
it's hard
And you
not
got
to think of it. Or
Cap Tom and Nancy.
Dino's
and-
is an awesome product. So
Right.
we have our favorites. We always have, but doing maybe best new salsa and best new hot sauce and something like that. Instead, that would be better 2 awards than the
Remember,
best.
I mentioned this before. This isn't an official topic, but I will put out there that I think it's definitely very challenging for us to be objective because that there are vendors whose products that we like, that we come in with a predisposed bias.
Yeah.
That we like them, their products are both.
Yeah.
So stacking them up against vendors and products we don't know, especially on a short-term
Exactly.
basis in a show like this, is very, very challenging.
Yeah.
So it really, I think, strains our objectivity in the short term to try and do that.
My most used sauce is Oaxacan. I mean, I use that more than anything else. So it becomes very, very hard for me to think of anything else other than maybe Dino's jalapenos and Cajun Islands products that I would put up on top of the best of the show. But again, it's hard when you basically have to compare all these
Right.
different
It can
companies.
be.
And I think too, it helps if you go back and you talk to the vendors a couple of times. They get to see you. They know who you are. Get a little conversation with them, so you get that benefit of knowing them a little bit better, like we do the established vendors that we've all known for years.
Or they actually, like some shows do, is where they submit us new products to our table and say, this is what we want you to vote on this year, and we limit it to 2 or 3 per company. That way we're not overwhelmed, but we don't have to go around the show. We just have it at the table and try it. Other than if it's a cold product like the beer cheese and stuff like that, which happens to be real good too. I think we should mention the beer cheese too. Name of the company.
Big Russ beer cheese.
Big Russ's beer cheese. We did a review of them. I had them at the Fire Food Show. Awesome product. I will be buying some on the way home.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's get into a heavy topic here. I know everyone has lots of opinions about this, and it's about videos. Multifaceted question. This really came to the forefront of my mind a couple weeks ago. Someone had posted up on the Chilehead's Facebook group and probably half a dozen other hot sauce, hot pepper groups on Facebook, asking people, who are your favorite reviewers? And what really stuck out at me was everyone was naming people on YouTube, people who ate hot peppers and hot sauces on YouTube, just naming their usernames. A lot of people I had never heard of before. And finally someone had mentioned, like Scott Roberts or somebody like that, and it seemed like a lot of the Chileheads who were like jumping on the internet, jumping on this whole chili pepper bandwagon, only know reviews from YouTube videos. Let's talk about the whole video topic here. And the first question here I want to ask all of you, are chili pepper sauce reviews moving away from blogs, written reviews to YouTube? So, Joe, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm going to say that the answer is no. I think that the the blog content is pretty much stable. I mean, those people who are doing the blogs are pretty much, I guess, the tortoise and the hare. We just kind of keep plugging along. I think there's just a propensity of more people to get involved doing the video reviews because they're just simple. I mean, you don't have to worry about the nuts and bolts of a website. You don't have to sit down and write. You just kind of turn the camera on and go. So it's very simple, I think, for people to, if they're looking to be their own, Chilehead eye reporter, to just kind of turn the camera on and go. So I don't think they're moving away from it. I just think there's more of it. So that's my take on it.
Linda?
Yeah, I don't think that they're moving towards videos. I think that they're completely separate, and I think that they're just two different mediums by which different groups or sets of people are more drawn to. Some people are drawn to watching video reviews, some people are drawn to reading reviews, and it just really depends. And going one step beyond that, you're looking at the quality of video reviews. So, if you're looking at it, I don't know. It just really depends on what the video review is and who wants to watch it.
Well, what I see when you're talking about YouTube videos, those are just like a point and shoot, where the guy's going, I'm going to eat this hot sauce, I'm going to do this, which is totally different from Buddha's video reviews, where they actually analyze the sauces and the ingredients and things like that, I think. And then he backs it up with comments and things like that, where others of us do the written, where you have to set up your website, you have to have your pictures, your links to other websites and things like that. And Buddha does that too. He uses a different medium than we do. But I think the YouTube videos that we're seeing are, I've got my smartphone, it's setting up in front of me, or I've got my camera on my laptop, and I'm just going to hit record, and I'm going to throw it out there and tag a couple, words to it and stuff like hot sauce and crazy and, endorphin rush, and see who watches it. And a lot of people just fall into those sites by accident, which is why we haven't heard of them.
Right.
Because that's not what we do. We do more in-depth reviews and reviewing the product, the labeling, the texture, the whole bit, instead of just watch me eat this. And
there tends to be more connection with the manufacturer too, because there's usually some conversation with them about their product. So it's not purely, look at what I found in this bottle at the store. There's usually some backstory to that, and at the very least, the Chilehead audience would find interesting.
Right.
Well, some of them will contact manufacturers, and I know for a fact that some beg the manufacturers for free product. Say, I'll review your stuff, please send it to me.
Right.
There's a few more questions about the whole video topic, but I want to say that a lot of them are very unprofessional, the way they're done. The thing is, I really don't watch video reviews anymore. I mean, there are a couple really popular video reviewers out there. I haven't watched their stuff in months because, quite frankly, they're very unprofessional. They have abrasive personalities. They're basically jerks.
We're not naming any names.
Yeah, we're not naming any names. And I think it's just it had nothing to do with Buddha and his efforts and everything. Right. And without naming names, and I did come to an agreement with somebody to not name his name or website. I think the whole trend started a couple years ago. Somebody in the video show. And of course it gets viewers in, but the things, I don't like the jackassery style of it, and I think everyone's falling to the whole thing where it's just nothing but entertainment. Oh, let you see how wild they could go, how much milk they could drink, how much they could puke. And there's even one guy who dressed up in a bra and a cowboy hat. It's come on, give me a break. Is this what they're coming to?
Yeah, you kind of lose a lot of respect for any actual reviews that you might do. Like, can't really take this guy seriously because he's all about the heat and the showmanship, even though he's a terrible showman.
Well, and the vendors don't like that. I talked to several vendors the other day who said, I've sent my stuff to these guys who flat out said, well, your product sucks. It's like, dude, you can't do that. I mean,
you can say
if you're an established person who does, like Buddha is established and he has a formula by which he does his video reviews that is more professional, and I liken it to kind of journalism where you're viewing TV versus newspapers, okay? There's a way to do journalism properly. So there's a way to do journalism via, television or videos properly, and there's a way to do it by print properly. But so those videos that are being put out there where they're just saying stupid stuff are not doing the manufacturers any favors whatsoever. In fact, they're hurting them. And these guys have offered up their products for free, and it's not fair to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Buddha, I know you're probably chomping at the bit and have a bunch of things.
I would disagree that it actually hurts them. It may hurt them depending on how they do the review. There's two kinds of videos. The ones that I'm doing are basically the formula I have is try to help, and my main thing is help someone get feedback for their product. And so I do 3 people per review, so I'm giving as much feedback as I can. Whether I'm going to get views or not, I'm doing it for the company, and maybe they post a video or they like it or they take the feedback and run with it. Whether it's positive or it's negative, I think we're giving something to them. And I ask my reviewers to be very, very honest and try the product with at least 2 foods, unless we're talking about chips or pretzels or something like that. But if it's a hot sauce, a condiment, or whatever, I want them to try it as many times as possible. Now, the videos you're talking about, the more entertainment style ones, there is an audience out there, and they have a tremendous amount of subscribers to watch what they do. Now, if I will name Ted in this, because Ted basically I've talked to Ted several times, and he's put himself in doing all these extreme videos to a point where he's got a tremendous amount of subscribers on YouTube. And he basically told me he wants to turn that into helping the industry and helping the companies out. Yeah, he's done a lot of off the kilter and he's thrown up on video. There is an audience out there, otherwise he wouldn't have the subscribers like that. But if he does a product review, and he does a straight up product review, and he's very honest about it, then he can help this industry a tremendous amount on that company that he's being very honest about, because of all the subscribers watching his videos. And you can look at it with Eat More Heat. They kind of do the same thing, where they're, the jackass style of approach is not appealing to everybody out there. There's a lot of straight companies that don't want to be involved in there, but they have an audience that we don't cater to. And that audience is entertained, and they do, and if you're watching the podcast, they do get people to buy their products. They go, oh, I bought this because you came on Eat More Heat doing their live podcast. So Ted's done the same thing. His people have said, well, I'm going to buy that product because Ted said he really liked it. Now, as long as Ted's being honest with it, because he will lose integrity as soon as that product gets to that person that saw his video and recommended it, and they hate it. Because all of a sudden it was like, well, Ted's bullshitting. He's just liking everything. As soon as they turn on their back on him because they don't believe in what he's saying, then he loses everything. And so he understands that, and that's a very positive thing that can be used. There's a lot of companies that don't want to be a part of that, and I totally understand the negative end of it. But there's a positive aspect that they could use. And I'll say again with Brad Bishop, he's come out and said, I have a lot of problems saying negative things about companies. I want to help these companies out, and he's basically said, send me a product. I want to basically do a little video, entertainment style for you, and put your product over, and as long as he's honest about it. But the thing is, he's having problems being honest in his reviews, and he's got to separate that. If he gets a product and he's just going to be entertainment, and he's going to put that company over and say what flavors of the company is, then he's got to say that in the beginning of the video, I'm just doing this for advertising, or I'm not doing it for anything else but to tell you about this product. And it's always going to be positive. He's done some negative reviews, but not many. And that's the line he has to cross. How do I improve? Because he's getting a lot of subscribers. He's getting a lot of following. They are entertained by his theatrics and off-the-wall characters that he creates. No one else is doing this. He's offering something. But if he wants to turn a corner, like Ted has told me he wants to turn the corner, then he's got to come honest to the table and say, I'm not going to just do this to put your company over. I'm going to do this to be honest, because I got a lot of subscribers that want to believe in me, and I want to give them something.
Yeah, but you have to admit, I mean, you're focusing a lot on, format of the video, but I think that you're looking essentially at two different animals. You're looking at entertainment, versus, education and information. And it just is. There in almost no video formats is there truly, it's set up as information and education that you're going to get from the more written formats. It's just not, because I'm not saying that nothing that the written blogs do is not entertaining. I realize it's horrible English, but it is, really kind of set up to inform. By and large, if you look at a majority of the video reviewers, it's not information. It is, entertainment, and that is kind of set up for the American viewer, quite honestly, because this
and
is
they're
what we're
following
doing.
the show.
And they'll follow. There is a niche for that, but you cannot compare the two and kind of laughingly put them on the same tier in terms of what they do, how they go, or I say what they do, but not how they go about it.
Here's the difference. Food Channel, it's really entertaining. They find ways to educate the public about products and do it in an entertaining fashion without being disparaging, okay? They take their time, they research, they do everything that they need to do, and that's the professional way to go about it. You can be entertaining.
Except for heat seekers. That's just
You can be entertaining and professional at the same time. You just can't, go out there and
Well, it's like comparing reality TV to a documentary.
Right.
Right.
They both deal with real people and real issues and real things in the world, but they approach it in an entirely different way.
Well, who's watching documentaries over reality? Most people watching the reality end of it.
You're right,
You
there
look,
is.
you look at the three
It's
women,
entertaining.
No matter how
basically
you look.
prostituted themselves on TV. I'm not going to say who they are, but everyone knows, that they're making millions of dollars just doing nothing.
Right. No matter which way you look at it, there is a place for the jackass type, videos, because there's a market for that. There's people who want to see that. That's all they want to see.
Yeah.
But
I don't like CSI. I don't like any of those doctor cop shows.
Don't like CSI?
That's just my particular
Alright, you can
taste.
go.
But there's plenty of people out there that like it. The ratings show it, and it's the same thing with the YouTube subscribers. We might not like all the over-the-top stuff, and do I watch, like Scott says, he's kind of stopped watching videos. The only videos I'm really watching are my own reviewers, because I just don't want to have to take more time into doing it. Unless someone said, Buddha, can you watch this one for me? But, and I don't even watch the reviewers' videos until I'm ready to post them, so they're fresh in my mind, and I know exactly what they said, just in case I get the company asking me what's the story.
Yeah, but are these other video reviewers, is this a detriment, though? If you take a particular product and...
Well, I think
pick
the
someone out
market's
and-
saturated.
Yeah.
We've killed the market on videos. When I started this almost 3 years ago, the idea was to give something brand new. I was doing multiple person written reviews with Taste of Fear, and it jumped to doing my own blog with videos. I think, hey, this has never been done before. Let me take this element, let me see who would be willing to get product in the mail for free, and just run with that using that approach. And I just wanted average people, because I considered myself, well, I'm a little on average, but consider this a everyday Joe and Linda Levinson. You can get people that just say you want products, and talk about them. Everyone likes, in our group loves spicy food. Just be honest with it. And I gave that approach, but now, 3 years later, there's so many videos out there. Can I compete? Who's going to spend the time to watch 3 videos on my blog when you could just watch one entertaining, infested video?
Well, I personally think that written reviews are much better. They're easier to get information from that I want, easier to scan. I could look at anything on, Hot Sauce Daily, the Hot Zone Online, and just kind of look back and forth as I scroll up and down the page, get the pieces of information I want, and be done in 2 minutes.
Right.
Video reviews, you have to sit there for 8-9 minutes, do the long introduction, and wait for them to taste it. It just, the whole process is tedious. I don't want to have to sit there for that long. And for them to act unprofessional on top of that, it just turns me away.
Right.
Well, speaking of videos, Jim Duffy, and the whole origins of this, might have come from Ryan Grob. Jim Duffy is sending lots and lots of different kinds of chili peppers to reviewers, to chefs, to sauce makers, getting them to do videos and cook with them on camera, to not only have it just be a stunt video, here's a Trinidad scorpion, eat it and just watch the hysterics, but to cook with it, describe the flavors, what you could actually do in the kitchen with it. I personally think that could be very positive. So, Marilyn?
Yeah, well, as a reviewer, I don't make my own hot sauces. There are plenty of other people that are doing a great job at that. So I think that's good for Jim to do that. For those of you who don't know, Jim Duffy is a grower.
Yeah,
He sells the seeds.
RefiningFireChilies.com.
Right. So I think that's very good to introduce the different varieties of peppers to the culinary aspects of the cooking and being creative with spicy peppers and chilies and things like that. So I think that's a good thing for him, and I think it helps promote him in a very positive light.
Well, I know it's a lot for his own promotion, but I think it's a type of pepper video I would want to watch.
I didn't think about it that way until you said that, but
Yeah.
I like the idea too, because then it at least gives the public an opportunity to know what to do with these things, because I think a lot of people look at these peppers and go, what am I going to do with that? I mean, even if I grow them, I mean, it's so hot, I can't do anything with this, and if you have someone showing you how to use it properly, then that's great, and again, that's education and information. It's not just, for entertainment purposes.
Like me pop this whole chili in my mouth and
yeah,
see
exactly,
it.
and,
Well, again, I think the person that is doing it and how they do it makes all the difference in the world. It's the difference between watching Bobby Flay cook and the Swedish Chef, for the Muppets. I mean, it's, what are you trying to, it's, what are you really trying to get out of it? I would really appreciate, I think for myself being kind of, an amateur in cooking with super hot peppers, I think that I would appreciate it, but it has to be done in a format, I think for me, that I can do something with other than be entertained by it. And that's where I think the challenge really is on the performer, if you will, the person, to be able to do that. And that takes some level of production value, I think, to really do that. Because, especially in a stationary camera like this, you're watching them go around the kitchen, I find it difficult to follow that. So to me, there has to be some production value to that, and that can take it away from kind of the home chef aspect of it, trying to appreciate what they're doing.
Well, in things like that, I would like to see more, not just with the cooking, the peppers, but everything else. Show me the food. Show me what you're putting it on. I don't just want to see your face and see a glimpse of the bottle, and I want to see what you're doing down here. I think some of the most effective shows actually focus on what's going on down here. Like when Emeril Lagasse started out, he had that camera. You could see exactly what he was doing. Focus on what your hands are doing with this food. Yeah, if you want to, have a 2-camera thing or tilt your laptop back and show your reaction on your face. But I want to see what's going on with that food. I want to see the texture of the sauces. I want to see, how you're preparing those peppers.
Yeah, I think bottom line, chili peppers are food, and it's definitely helped promote the industry, help promote sauces. Especially DEF CON always comes to mind. With the people tasting a little bit of zero at the end of a straw. The entertainment value is there. I enjoy people doing that. It's always funny, but you have to realize, well, he also sells wing sauces that taste great.
yeah.
And I think a lot of people get lost on that kind of thing. Same thing with chili pepper videos. So I think it's a very positive thing, even if it's self-promoting of Jim Duffy, to do that. I just want to see a trend of more people doing it, and I realize sometimes you might need multiple cameras on it. You need to do a lot more editing with the video to really make it, I don't want to say entertaining, to make it watchable.
Right.
So, Buddha?
Well, I believe in the spicy recipes for a long time. I've been trying to get makers to do them on my site for a while. I've told them that you want to push your products and cook with your own products. I love the recipes. That's why we did the spicy cooking challenge. There's no shows out there that really focus on that, and I really think that it's great benefit to that. The only problem I have right now is that Jim, who's doing great marketing with this whole thing, because anytime you type in the word Jim Duffy on YouTube, it's showing up with 100 videos because he's pushed these peppers on a lot of different people. He keeps asking more and more people to do videos. The only issue I have right now is that the person who's doing the video should be posting their video on a Chileheads group. It shouldn't be them and Jim posted. Every video is being double posted, and it's getting old really fast to the point where Jim maybe should just have his own channel, which he does, I believe, Jim Duffy Fan Club, who has some funny site that they created on Facebook. But
YouTube channel or Facebook
It's
page?
if you're gonna double post somewhere else, because I don't want to see the double posts on the Chileheads group. It's saturating the board. Mike's doing great cooking videos, and Mike should be posting it.
Mike Holtquist of Chili Pepper Madness.
Yes. Oh, and that's just what I was thinking of. Wicked.
Mike Eisenberg of Wicked Cat. Yeah, he does an awesome job
both
too.
of them are doing great videos, but I want to see them post it, or just Jim. I don't want to see both of them posting the same video over and over again. It seems just too much. I mean, I do post something just about every day on there, but I don't try not to double post.
Would you post mine too?
Sure, every day. But I love spicy recipe videos. I'm not saying I'm a gourmet cook in any shape or form, but I like to see them take a normal recipe and just turn it into a spicy one. Just like a lasagna. I mean, we'd love to see some Italian dishes because I grew up with Italian food, and just see them like make spicy meatballs, a spicy lasagna, manicotta. Just put a little twist without changing the true Italian flavors.
Yeah. Well, even what you did with the Feast Your Eyes on the challenges. I mean, I think that was great. And then when you and I were talking on our way to Peppers at the Beach, I would love to see like a show or a YouTube channel with that, just cooking, and even if it's just for the sauce makers to promote their own sauces.
Yeah. I would watch promote your own products. I mean, you have all these great products at the shows that no one knows about. Well, create a video, make a bunch of dishes on camera for us, using your products so we know when we buy it how we're going to use it. Put the video up and we'll share it with all the blogs if need be. But I would love to have that recipe thing on my website.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a little break right now, but stick around for the second half of our roundtable discussion.
Fight Ribbon Clothing Company. Clothing and fight gear on a mission. Fight Ribbon is the original MMA clothing company built from the ground up for fighters and fans. Clothing with a purpose. The new face of cancer awareness. Fight Ribbon Clothing Company. Because what you wear matters. Visit FightRibbon.com.
The Two Guys Talking Nostalgia Engine is here, and we need your help. Two Guys Talking has begun stockpiling reviews of great, classic movies, and we want to know what you want us to review. Access twoguystalking.com now and tell us which classic movies on DVD and Blu-ray we should put into the Two Guys Talking Perspective Review crosshairs, and help us fuel the internet's best repository for engaging, nostalgic feature film reviews. Access twoguystalking.com and click any one of the Nostalgia Engine pictures. Tell us which movies you want right now. Action, horror, comedies, even the occasional rom-com. Access twoguystalking.com. That's the number 2, guystalking.com. The Nostalgia Engine. Ride in nostalgic style while you listen. twoguystalking.com.
Do you consider yourself to be a Chilehead and want to find some hot new gear to wear?
Oh yeah!
Look no further than ChileheadTees.com. If you're a heat freak and love hot sauce, chili peppers, or anything dealing with fiery and spicy foods, this is the place to get t-shirts to show off your obsession. Chilehead Tees is dedicated to giving you the hottest t-shirts, mouse pads, mugs, aprons, and more for the discriminating Chilehead. Go to ChileheadTees.com. That's ChileheadStees.com.
You're listening to the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network.
All right, we are back, and now here is more of our special roundtable discussion. Well, we talked quite a bit about videos. Let's move on to another topic. How about shows and events around the country that kind of pop up and they include hot and spicy vendors? Do you think it takes away from typical shows like this? For instance, if a chili cook-off will allow people to have booths, hot sauce vendors to be there. Do you think it's good for the hot sauce vendors? And do you think it's negative for fiery foods events like this?
I don't see how. I mean, they're running a business. It's like going to the farmer's market for them or a flea market. They got to get any way they can to sell their products, whether it's a kiosk in the mall or just showing up on the corner, in a little food wagon, whatever it takes to get their product. I think if you look at the jewelry and the handbags that are sold at our fiery food shows, just as an alternative, you have a couple comes to the show, and maybe one likes the hot, spicy stuff, and the other one doesn't. Well, then you have that alternative. They can go look at those other booths. Now, if you go, Torchbearer is a perfect example. They told me years ago they found out how successful beer shows are. Mm-hmm. And so they drew like a 300-mile radius around Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and go, we're going to hit every one. And they've come down to my own town, in Leesburg. We have a big beer show in June and July. It draws a tremendous amount. So they've been there the last 2 years, have done really well. And they're a standout. There's like maybe one other spicy company there. But they realize that these people are not just drinking beer, but they may want something else. Mm-hmm. And so they make a lot of money at these shows. Why not have an alternative if let's see, DEF CON and Cajun right now, well, DEF CON's selling wing sauces at a chili event. It seems odd, but that standout event is going to draw a lot of attention. I think he's going to do really well. I hope he's doing really well right now.
Mm-hmm.
I brought this topic up, so
I'm sure you have some thoughts.
I want to address this because here's the thing. Hot and spicy, we all know, has become more mainstream over the last few years, and as it becomes more mainstream, more people want to see it at more events. And not only that, so you have these events like, beer shows and chili cook-offs and stuff like that, or even, farmers markets, etc. But you also have really big hot and spicy food shows coming up. There's someone wanting to do one in Chicago, someone wanting to do one in New York, and they're going to happen. They're just going to happen. And you have vendors who have to plan for what they're going to do mm-hmm. throughout the year. They can't go to all of them. So you lose some of your vendors and in shows to other shows, and I know they have to go where they make money, but
it's also cost effective for them.
Right.
If let's say Big Fats being from the Chicago area,
exactly.
If they get their Chicago show
right.
and they can save money by not traveling, hotel, and all the other stuff, that's a big plus for them.
And it allows other people from that area who wouldn't actually go to other shows, who can't afford to go to other shows. Right. I understand that, but it also limits the capacity for them to attend shows, and therefore kind of reduces.
But there's always new companies out there. If the show markets itself well, it will replace. A Weekend of Fire is one of the shows out there that hits the wall on how many vendors you can have really fast. And the other shows are more open, like Houston's outside, so they could expand a little bit, but there's a limit on what they can expand to.
Well, let me ask you a question, because you watched this whole thing last night along with me. John Dilly went to the chili cook-off, and you're right. I hope he does really, really well. I really do. Okay. Was that event as good as it has been ever in the past?
The wing event?
Yes.
Crazy Uncle Jester was stretched to a limit yesterday. You could see it, and I asked him, he was tired. Just doing the vending and the booth and having limited people helping him.
I'm not placing blame. I'm not placing blame.
He also had to do an ice cream event. He also had to do the peanut butter and jelly event. By the time that wing sauce event and the end of the day, after 7 hours of working at the show, he was exhausted. He had no energy to put forth. They asked him to step up and do the wing challenge. It was probably too much to do with the peanut butter and jelly contest, with the ice cream contest. At the time, he didn't have any energy to really. He lost his voice, mm-hmm. so there wasn't much voice coming from it. It wasn't organized. He wanted them to help him with the organization, and they were a little lost. Debbie asked me what they can do better, and it definitely could be improved. You line everybody up together, you squish them as they get eliminated, put them on the same face, let them face the crowd, and let the people that are working the show watch them, so to make sure they're eating the chicken. I was filming right next to one of the guys who took one or two bites and threw the wing down because he realized after round two that they weren't watching what they were eating. Right. And as soon as he realized that, he was like, hand up, I'm done. And there was there wasn't any chicken eating.
Right.
And I told Debbie, I was like, yeah, but it's out of control. You got to pull the control back in if you want to make it a fair contest. And these guys are suffering out there with these wings. And there's 30 wings is way too many. And they were like, the guy who won last year backed out because he got full.
Yeah.
And so you don't want an event to be about eat He wanted to be about the heat, and so it was a mess. Can it be improved? Hell yeah, it can be improved.
It can, but it suffered.
It did.
It suffered because
you can't put Crazy Uncle Jester as your highlight of the whole show.
No.
That's the biggest problem.
I am not placing blame on that. What I'm saying is that because a vendor was pulled away for another show.
No, but that was DEFCON's choice.
For
money. That came out of the money.
I understand that, but I'm saying that this show suffered a little bit because of that choice.
Yeah. Joe, Marilyn, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I have to say, quite frankly, I considered going to the chili cook-off instead of here. But then I thought, I won't see all my friends. So I did instead. And then I found out Brian couldn't come, so that really solidified the deal. I think that John said this is closer to us, a little bit, maybe an hour or two difference. And there's like thousands and thousands of people. Because there's the Carol Shelby car show and the tribute. Plus, the International Chili Contest moves around. And it's not here all the time. It's not on the East Coast all the time. Usually it's out west somewhere or down south or up north. So that was, a golden opportunity for him to go to try that out. I think, the wing contest, I wasn't here for it, but from what I've heard was not run as efficiently and professionally as John would have done it because he's the master. I mean, nobody does it like him.
And that's practice.
Yeah.
He commands the crowd. I mean, he runs it.
If John wasn't contacted, he does the New England Chili Cook-Off every year, and he's really good. He does a death match there, and it turns out it's really, really good for him.
Yeah.
And he's been told, hey, come out to West Virginia. You think that show in New England's good? Come out here, and we're going to make even more money. And his eyes lit up and goes, well, I'm not making the money at We're Gonna Fire.
And I absolutely understand.
And that's it. And will he be back? It depends how he does this weekend.
Yeah.
But we may never see the death match here.
Next year, it probably won't be the chili cook-off in West Virginia. It'll probably be, I think it's in San Francisco next year, somewhere in California.
Right.
But just really quickly, there are a lot of hot sauce vendors that we know and love who are at other events closer to home. The people from Tom's Roid Ribbon are at a festival up in Connecticut. Johnny's wife Nicole is doing some stuff up in New York. So there's lots of things, like you said, going around the country that people have to look at their cost, income, etc. We miss them. We love them tremendously.
But we tied this into one thing. How can We Gonna Fire make more money for the vendors? Because if they're leaving because they're not making as much money as they possibly could at another event.
Or the expenses are different.
Yeah, the expenses, because we're talking about Tom's Roy Ripping. He's got Connecticut. He lives in Connecticut. He's not going to travel to here when he knows the benefits are going to be better for that. And DEFCON still has to stay in West Virginia. That's a drive and a half, way south in West Virginia where he has to go. So he has to pay. We Gonna Fire, he has to pay there. If West Virginia is going to be making more money in his head, he's going to do that because it's an economic thing. It's not.
Right.
And how do we replace him? Well, Jester stepped up. He's probably. We can't make We Gonna Fire about the Jester show. He did an admirable job, and he's going to be busy again today too.
Right.
Yeah.
He did the best that he could. I think that he needed a lot of help from other people who didn't give it.
Well, it was a new format.
Yeah.
Three different stages.
Right.
Bad judging and monitoring.
He looked so tired. He needed the help.
Everything didn't go off.
He did. He needed a lot more support than he got.
Yeah, he had no voice. He was tired. The show took a lot out of him. And at the end, when I said we're going out to dinner, and I knew because he lives in Dayton, he's not. He was like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah. Joe, do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, without trying to revisit anything that you all have said, the two things kind of came to mind. Number one, I think that from a pure supply and demand, I think that if you look at the trends in this this country as far as hot and spicy, I think the number of shows really kind of have to match up with the demand. That's the supply, and the national interest is the demand. You have so many more shows than you have than your demand. It's not going to match up, and a lot of these shows they're going to all suffer by comparison, because you're going to have more shows than the public is going to really be interested in. So it really has to match up. The second thing is that the people who are probably rooting most against these new shows are the people who are most involved in the older established shows. Like I'm sure, the folks in charge of the Zest Fest and Dave DeWitt for Fiery Foods are probably not terribly thrilled with the notion that they may have local shows within 1, 2, or 3 hours of them that are taking away both vendors and people going through the gates from their shows. that kind of may be seen as diluting, their product.
Right.
So there is, kind of a downside to that for the shows that we all like to go to on a regular basis. That they themselves may be diluted by all these additional shows that are out there. It's great for the public because, not everyone, who might be, say, from Columbus, Ohio, might be able to, fly out to Albuquerque every year or fly out to Fort Worth to do some of these. If I can, travel to Cleveland or Cincinnati and do a show, I'm definitely going to go ahead and do that. But these are some of the shows that are actually counting on that.
Well, he just said, what he's going to be able to do, and the same thing with me. Because I made a comment on my blog that this could be my last Weekend of Fire show because I was picking and choosing what I was going to do this year. Houston was a sponsor for my cooking contest. I got to do Houston. NOAA was going to be planned into my my week as well. I would love to do open fields as well. I can't do everything, so I couldn't do open fields. The only reason I'm here this weekend is because I got Columbus Day weekend. The full background, I'm off Monday working for the government. Next year, Weekend of Fire does not have Columbus Day to fall back on. That means that I have to leave Friday after work and leave Sunday. And so that makes it a point where I'm traveling 8.5 hours. It does not happen. I'm not coming next year if it's not. I don't have the Columbus Day weekend to fall back on. I wasn't gonna come this year because until I realized it was Columbus Day weekend. So it's gonna be picky and choosy. Next year I'm doing Houston. I'm doing NOLA. I'm probably gonna take a week of vacation where I stay out in Houston and then travel to New Orleans and then leave out of New Orleans. That's in my mindset. I want to do both shows. I want to support both shows. I want to support Weekend of Fire, but it comes down to choices now. That's a real week of vacation. This is just a weekend.
And expenses for us as bloggers, as people know, we don't make a penny doing this.
Exactly.
This is all out. This is all
Hundreds
out
of
of
dollars
pocket.
out
This is a labor of love.
Yeah, and it's like most people plan on taking one really special vacation every year. We take like 3 or 4 special weekends every year.
Right. Yeah.
But put all
These are our
together,
vacations.
we might, it's like Brian said, honey, I love the shows, I love the people, but we could take all that money and go on 2 cruises, you know?
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't be hanging out with you guys, so.
Yeah.
But I think about having multiple shows around the country for the people who are local, who can't afford to go spend the night to go to a Weekend of Fire or go to Houston to a hotel. For the people who live within a 2 or 3 or 4 hour drive from those places, I think it's wonderful that we have more local shows. Peppers at the Beach has been a great, great show growing every year. The people come from Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia to that because there's not a lot else going on right around there except for Bowers in Pennsylvania. So we have got more and more people who are following our blogs, who are into hot sauces than we ever had before. And I think that's because we have these pop-up shows. And hopefully it won't dilute the vendors because God knows we've got more vendors coming on every year too. So kind of building together.
Next topic here, Buddha had mentioned back in April, Clement Borg of Cajun Heat set up multiple blog review of his new barbecue sauce, Sabon Cajun Q. He set up to where all the bloggers and I'm trying to think if there were video reviewers involved. Do you remember?
Well, I know both of us, you guys did as well. I know you guys didn't do it because you didn't get your barbecue until later. Ryan got it.
And did
he got it, but they put it up late.
Yeah.
The whole idea was to basically put up a review on the same day, which he chose his birthday. He believed in his product, and he wanted to get everyone's feedback on the day. I don't think he expected to get the fanfare that we put behind the barbecue.
Well, it was a really good product.
It was a really, really good product, and I think everyone who had it loved it. And all he asked in return, and he gave us plenty of time to do it, was to put up the review on the set day. And that way he could promote it all on that day and offer a discount for his birthday. He was giving us discounts to buy it. It was a great concept, never been done before by a maker. Why? My question was, why is this not happening more often? Why have we not set up through a company that likes certain websites to basically do a multiple review? I mean, I do multiple reviews and I believe in them, but why not just hit all the different blogs if you're going to do it anyway? Just send. I'll take one of my reviewers. He'll be the focus, and then you got your website, your website, your website. It's 4 reviews right there, and you gain more coverage out of it. It's a great idea.
We've done reviews the same day. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, logistically, it's a huge nightmare to plan something like that. And I'm sure, just like everyone here, I get dozens of products. I'm probably backed up. I don't know how many 120 products that I still have to review, and I'm several months behind. And for somebody to say, hey, can you put it out a specific date? It's hard to do that.
If
Right.
someone
It
gave
really
you
is.
2 months to do it, you think you would be
I
able
would
to?
absolutely,
I think so.
positively refuse to be involved in that, and I'll tell you why. Because life happens. If
Mhm.
something goes on, and I don't care how long a time, my kid gets sick, something happens with my real job, not this job. You know what? It's going to go by the wayside, and the thing that I like about doing what I'm doing is that I do it on my own schedule. I do it, at my own rate and my own motivation level, and it's not personally worth it at this stage of the game for me to tie into something like that. It's all I can do to set aside time for weekends like this, let alone to say, well, on such and such a day that I'm going to go and sit down and write a review. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I know that it helps. It does great for the companies, but I'm sorry, I'm not tying into that. I'm just not.
Party pooper.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, if you're
the voice of
if you're-
dissent. Given 2
I'm
months.
That's fine.
I mean,
fine.
if it were done like all the time, maybe that'd be a little rough. But on occasion, if you did it and you were given a couple months to write it, I know personally in WordPress you can set it up to.
Yeah,
Just schedule, write it
Yeah,
a
you
month
can schedule
beforehand
it to-
and get it
yeah.
ready.
And if
Exactly.
something came up, an emergency, you contact the company and say, hey, I'm sorry, but this is not going to happen.
Right.
And I'll make it up to you later on. But
Yeah, just like in this
2
case,
months.
there are a few
events.
people, like you said, that didn't get it up. Eat more heat.
I never
and
even
run
heard
it.
about it.
He
I never
screwed
heard
up
about
on
it. Clement must not like us anymore.
You weren't posted, I think. That was probably the issue.
Well,
But he sent it out to about 4 different blogs. Well, he gave it to
probably more than
multiple
that,
of my
yeah.
reviewers. He gave it to 3 or 4 of my reviewers, and including myself. I wasn't even going to be part of the review, but he works in my town. He lives about 45 minutes away, but he comes in my town and just drops it off. I liked it so much, I reordered it right there. I said, you better drop me some off. I need another bottle for the review. And then I said, all right, why don't you just give me 6? Now he pays his advertisers in barbecue sauce. I don't mind.
Well, I think like Scott and us did a review together. We posted the same day on a new product, and I think if the reviewers could get together and do that with talking to the manufacturer. Let's say that Big Fat said, look, we have this sauce coming out, and we talk to each other. Yeah, I got this, or I got this week. Well, do you want to wait and we'll just post our reviews the same day?
Well, the thing
Jeremy,
he
is
has
that
to
okay
organize
with
it.
you?
Jeremy and Kat would have to organize that.
Mhm.
If we did a review together years ago, the Hot Sauce Online with American Hot Sauce Company.
Yeah.
It was an entertaining review. Was it just our 2 blogs, or was there a third one? I don't remember. I think it was just us. I used a couple of my reviewers. You had a couple. Paso, I think, was the only.
Yeah.
So we went back and forth. We went. I guess we did 2 on your site and 2 on mine, and we waited a day or something like that. And it was organized to the point where we could rotate back and forth because there were 4 bottles. And reviews worked out. We had multiple people doing it. It was a company that basically was very, very cheap sauce, and a portion of that was going to help veterans or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a decent idea to try.
Well, I kind of feel like Joe does. Life happens, and you have other stuff that you're getting in the mail from other people, and they're constantly going, okay, have you reviewed it yet? Or reviewed it yet? And like, look, guys, I've got like 3 bookshelves full of hot sauce I haven't even touched yet.
I have 4.
Right.
So, well, I was being conservative.
You don't want to know how many hot sauces we have.
But yeah, I think it's a good concept, but in reality, I don't know that it would be really practical for us because we all have full-time jobs and
Yeah,
stuff.
very
like
hard to
that.
do. A couple times a year, I could see it.
And again,
Right.
that's the thing.
Right.
My question is, why hasn't anyone else done it? I mean, he was the only one that ever came up with the idea, and it worked out.
Oh, it worked out very
we
well.
don't know
for
if it's
the
all
most
going to be
part,
positive like that. I mean, that was a very, very positive reviews across the board. But.
Other manufacturers or retailers, they may not be as much tied into the blogging world, or they honestly, if they're selling, they may not care about the reviews. I mean, everyone's got a different dog in the hunt in terms of what they think about that kind of review format. And Clement is he's a known quantity to all of us, and his products and that kind of thing. So he's a lot more tied into what we're doing than some people are. So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, if a company came to me and said, I would like this review done on December 1st for whatever reason, and he's giving me 2 months to do it, I'm telling my reviewers, all right, it's got to be done by November 15th or whatever, so it's giving me a couple of weeks to at least get it done. And I told him I was trying to get it done within a month. But if he's giving us 2 months, I feel I can do that and set it up. Again, emergencies do happen, life happens, so you can't do it. But I think it's a great concept, it's a great idea. I just I've never had anyone other than Clement come up with that idea to do it.
It's almost like I'd be scared to start doing that under the possibility that would become sort of an expectation that people will be able to more dictate to us what we're doing when we
with
do
our
it.
time, right?
And it'd be like, look, we made a special exception. Well, if you made it for them, why aren't you going to do it for my company? And this is why I being the so-called voice of dissent is I don't even want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. If we do it, I would do it because we felt like doing it, not because we promise someone we'd do it.
Between the bloggers to say let's all agree to do it this day. And
just because I like the professionalism by the way that we go about our thing, and I don't want to pick favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think we pick favorites enough in terms of things we like.
Yeah, we all have
let alone
preferences.
about going the review process. So
yeah.
I think it's treacherous to try and do that.
Yep.
Well, I just want to interject here that, Brian, I miss you, and we agreed last night that we are not ever doing solo shows again. We will go together wherever we go. So it'll be Hot Sauce Daily.
It was a shock
together.
thing when they went to Houston that you weren't there. I didn't realize.
If you have a pile of ones
at
home right now,
shocker again here that he wasn't here. So.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Anyway, speaking of doing things together, there's been some discussion. There has been a new group on Facebook started called Old Chileheads. And we have been talking about a reunion from all the bloggers, Chileheads from the Hot Sauce blog days. We've been thinking, just kind of talking, maybe doing this in 2013, 2014, going to a big show like Zest Fest, Fiery Foods in Albuquerque. Yeah.
And having a reunion and maybe a big round table.
And
that would be awesome.
That would be so awesome.
And a short bus. We have
and a huge party, yes.
Yep.
I've approached Nick from the Hot Sauce blog to, because he says he knows somebody that has bus rentals or whatever, to look into possibly setting something up for Houston for those people that want to stay for the week and go to New Orleans with a short bus. Well, it probably won't be a short bus, it'll just be a regular bus, but to get a bus with his contact or whatever and take it to New Orleans, and for those that want to come back to Houston after the show's over can, and for those that want to fly out from New Orleans can do that as well.
Okay.
But it could be interesting. We rent the bus, we split the fee or whatever. Maybe even get a house in.
Do we even
New
have
Orleans.
a consensus on where everyone would want to
Well,
go?
they want
just full preliminary
They
stages.
want Zest Fest for a reason, the stockyards, but the stockyards are much farther away now.
It's like
not
45 minutes, I
The
think.
whole concept of the stockyard working was they all stayed at the same hotel,
Right.
and they walked down the block.
Right.
That's all it was, and it's not that way anymore
The good old
unless
days.
they choose to stay way out in the stockyards, away from the show.
Yeah.
Now, I don't do the show long enough, but I'll stay wherever everyone else is staying. That's
Well,
we
you're
do the
making-
Holiday Inn. It's fun for me.
You're making an assumption that it's going to be in Texas. There are some people who really want it to be in Albuquerque, and we
Yeah,
really
there are
can't.
good reasons.
DEF CON
we
is
can't.
behind it, then DEF CON's going to want Zest Fest because he's not going to come out to Albuquerque again.
Yeah.
So that I believe that John is one of the most respected guys in their community for all the time he spent on the blogs, all the blogs and everything, bouncing around, that they would soon as take Fort Worth over Albuquerque for that reason, to have him part of it.
Well, if we accept the notion that we're just not going to be able to come up with something that everyone's going to be able to do, then we can move on with that. But there's going to be this notion that there's going to be a vocal minority of people who can't pick a location.
There's always going to be someone who's going to be able to
And
do
we're
it.
just going to
have to pick a city and just run with it.
The reason why I want Zest Fest is because I live up north, and there's a risk of planning something that a snowstorm can wipe out.
Because it's in January, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not just flying out there, but flying back. Now, I'm not a vendor, and I don't have to worry about my supplies getting to the show, but I could go to the show if I was a vendor and make it, and then all my products don't make it because of the snowstorm, and I'm screwed. It's a risky show if you don't live down there.
Well, I think there's plenty of time for us to talk about that because nothing's going to happen this January, obviously. So
Here's a question: why does it have to be at a show? Because, and I thought about this, saying, look, if you're looking at some of these people that are involved that are industry people, then they're going to be really tied into their business and all the setup that goes along with doing the show that we would want to be involved. Because some of the people who have been also are in the industry. we could pick realistically any
Open
weekend
fields.
during the year.
Open fields would be perfect.
Well, I just think that a lot of these vendors, them going to shows are like their own little mini vacations. And it's almost like a built-in audience. We would have half the people there anyway. We'd have 20 vendors there.
Well, that's true.
And the vendors are making money, so they're
Right,
paying for their trip.
Right,
We're not. So we can just go with the flow, so to speak, and wherever they decide to do, because it's about them making money and paying for their trip. But the people that are like old school are not necessarily in the business anymore, like Brian Moon. We don't know if he's gonna make a comeback or not, but he's like, I'm gonna be there. I want to be there. I miss everybody. So whether you choose Zest Fest being in January and the Fiery Food Show being in March, to me, March
So
is
it'll
less
probably
of a
be
risk.
2014.
So less of a risk. But the 25th anniversary, Scott, you brought this up before, that we should get a contingent of bloggers out for the 25th anniversary at the Fiery Food Show.
Which is
regardless.
next March 2013. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to see that.
I do not see it happening that soon.
We won't.
No, not the reunion we're
old
talking
school.
about.
We're just
It's
talking
getting
about
bloggers out there.
Yeah. Getting, because it's 25th anniversary, making it special. We get as many people as we can, and we had so many laughs in that little group, especially when. Sorry, Parker, but when Parker went down in that restaurant and he's grabbing his knee, and there's a hot sauce guru with just little snide comments, you had me rolling. I mean, it was just one of the funniest times ever. And then Robert gets back in the seat. He's like, "You think anyone noticed?" Meanwhile, he was down there for 20 minutes. And then the hot sauce guru was like, "No, Robert, no one noticed." So it was like one of the funny times. And then he got into a little foreign escapade. We had to pull over.
We all had gas that weekend, but we will not go there.
It was some of the funniest times I've ever had being a big group. The bigger the group, the more we're hanging out together, we could find a lot of things to do outside the show. Because we all leave the show once it starts to the public, because we don't want to be a part of that.
The Fiery Food Show in particular, because it's just a
but
big
we have
mob.
our time we can spend there, and once the public comes in, we're looking for something to do, and that's been the most fun. Going up to Santa Fe and doing downtown Albuquerque. I'd love to get a big group out there and do it again. And I mean, you and Brian definitely should come. You need to come as a couple again. I don't know if you've come as a couple before. Have you both been there together?
In Albuquerque?
Yeah.
2001.
So it's time.
Yes.
It's time. I think this is the year.
Start saving those nickels.
It's this year. We got to go back to that restaurant
12 years
that
ago.
Firehead Thomas and
I've never been. Brian
Sticky
went by
Brand,
himself
Robert, and his son
3 or 4 years ago.
went up there. We had a great time in that restaurant up there. I can't remember the name. Pasquale's.
I love it.
It was so
Was that
freaking
the
good.
time that Brian got drunk and?
No, that was the first.
And what?
Oh, that was the first.
Which time? Which time?
Let's hear about this. I was recording, I swear.
Love you guys.
So anyway, that's
Any more
on the
comments?
agenda for us. So
Well, thank you,
that-
Scott, for taking care of getting all this put together and
Yeah, it
putting
was
together
hard.
everything.
Hard to do this.
We got one more thing.
And what would that be?
We got the review of the hottest candy in the world. Hot tamales, 3-alarm.
In the world, it even says so on a box, right?
It's
That's got to be right then.
chewy cinnamon flavored
Oh
candies.
wait,
with
it's
3
three
heat
alarm,
levels.
not
Three
just
alarm.
one, not two, but
Yeah,
3
it's
alarm.
hot, hotter, and hottest. So this could surpass anything that the Madison
Okay.
Chocolatiers have ever done.
I'm not sure how this will
Right
translate
now,
to the audio.
the Madison
thing.
Chocolatiers are puking wherever they are from you having said that.
And so I think, as a group, it'd be a nice. We talk about doing the
So some-
multi-blog
some-
review. This is
We
it.
could do that to end this little
Yes, I think
recording
this would be
here.
a nice.
Let's do
little-
it here.
My battery doesn't run out. We have 3
Buddha's
flavors.
opening up the box.
Hold on, I need more insulin. Wait.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be on
All right, go.
blog, but did you smell anything in that?
Sugar.
I mean, there's no smell coming out of that, but I'll give a close up of the camera.
It'll be all blurry.
It's a Buddha video.
Let's
Yeah.
pour it on the table.
I want the hottest.
The light one is the hot one. We'll start with that one.
The light one.
Is the hot. Okay.
This
there's
takes
hot,
3
hot.
kinds.
Oh, okay. The one alarm, I guess, right?
This is the hot.
Yeah.
All right.
It goes. The darker
See?
is the hottest.
See, there are tones of
So
cinnamon.
the orange one.
Is the mildest.
Whoop, there you go.
Might as well grab the other one.
Orange
too.
one doesn't smell like anything but wax. If wax
Tastes
has
like
a
sugar and
smell.
Okay.
You're trying 3 of each?
All right.
All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. The orange one first.
Orange one's first.
All right,
This is the
I
hot
already
one.
downed it.
1 alarm.
One alarm.
It's cinnamon. It's
Ooh,
those little
what's-
cinnamon red
Yeah.
things.
What's the
hot
slow bill
tamales.
on this? Does it have a thing?
2.
Well, there
It's
should be a
cinnamon
warning
candy. It's
from
yummy.
the Surgeon General.
Yeah.
No,
Kevin, what do you
It
think?
reminds me of Valentine's Day.
Yeah, not
I have my
hot.
son Kevin
Is
here
it-
with me. Go ahead.
It's fat free.
What do you think, Kevin? How is it?
Kevin's got to get in the camera because he's off camera. Yep.
Do you like it? Would you eat more?
Probably.
Okay. All right. I would too. Those could be addictive.
It's good. Yeah, it's really good. It's typical hot tamale flavor, but I don't get any sting around.
All right.
Two
All right,
alarm?
second one is the second lightest red one.
Okay, I just popped that in my mouth.
I had 3.
2 alarm.
It's noticeably hotter.
Still the same cinnamon taste.
It'd be like a good gum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fresh in my breath.
What is that? Red, big
For the
red.
I like
kissing
that.
I'm gonna do later.
It's,
like
I
big
always
red
love
gum.
cinnamon toothpaste.
I feel like I just sucked on a pure cinnamon stick.
A great candy isn't made, it's just born.
Oh, those are the baby chicks.
They do have a Facebook
Just
page.
born.
They have a cinnamon farm.
HotTamales.com. Alright, we ready for the hot one?
Yes, let's
3
do it.
alarm, baby.
I'm scared of
alarm.
this one.
Alright, be
So
careful.
that means 3
You know what happened with the
Scoville
brownie,
units.
mister.
3
There we go.
They cleanse the
Oh my
top
god,
first.
does anyone have milk?
Soda.
That'll work.
I need a brownie to
Ah.
put this down.
Battery ran out.
Definitely no
It
need for
ended.
milk.
Oh no.
No.
We had the audio.
No need
So
for milk.
I bet this is a great podcast here with just us chewing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like the flavor of it. Got great
It is
texture.
It is a little hotter.
orange.
Alright, a quick review before the camera goes dead air. The last one was pretty spicy, but not too spicy in
No.
any way.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
more cinnamon.
I like cinnamon. I love the product. I'm gonna give this 3.5 flaming hearts.
My breath smells good.
Thank God.
I would get,
Hurry up, camera's gonna be dead in a second.
yeah, I'll edit that part out.
I like it.
Uh,
Can I just get one with the hottest one? And
I would
skip
give it
over
3 out of
the
5.
Yeah, I would too.
Decent.
Yeah.
first?
Overall?
Overall, yeah.
I had 2.5. I'm not that big on cinnamon.
Do I
hearts.
really have to give stars to candy? I mean,
Yes, you do. It's spicy
You're on
food.
camera.
Have I fallen this far?
This
Yeah,
case,
do
the
it.
camera goes off.
2.5 stars.
It shows
I
your
want,
versatile,
I want
Joe.
just the hottest ones. The other ones just dilute the heat.
Well,
They
you have it at
insult
a
my
party.
intelligence.
It was good though.
And you can just pick out the good ones. Kind of like when you get those little Hershey squares, I always go for the crack.
Oh, I always get the dark
And
chocolate.
leave the dark chocolate ones for somebody else because I don't like dark chocolate.
Me.
Anyway, well, thanks.
Anyway,
Scott.
well, thank you everyone. We're going to sign off here.
Yay.
Buddha, Joe, Linda, Marilyn, Kevin.
Scott.
Thank you to Hot
Thank you
Tamales.
everyone for talking.
3 hot tamales.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Buddha,
Thank you.
for
We'll see you
talking.
next year.
I'm shy. Too.
Oh, and let us mention the microphone. Buddha, you had something to say about the microphone?
Yeah, is that compensating for something?
No, absolutely not. It's modeled. It's shaped after something.
This
But
is,
but is it sliced?
that's what I was His hand's not on it. It is
That
called
was a
blue.
Perfect answer.
Yeah. With that, we will bid you farewell.
Bye, everybody.
Now that was a lot of fun. I always enjoy doing these things. It's simply become one of the highlights of these trips to hot sauce shows, where I know a lot of bloggers will be present, because we will get together, we will talk about certain issues, but still there's that friendship, that camaraderie, you just can't fake it. So I love seeing these guys and talking with them and just having a good time. Again, I want to extend a thanks to Marilyn Mayer of HotSauceDaily.com, Joe and Linda Levinson of TheHotZoneOnline.com, and Al Buddha Goldenberg of ILoveItSpicy.com. If you want to check their blogs out, remember their links, as all links are, in the show notes of this show. I want to quickly remind everyone that you could follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ScottRoberts. You can like my Facebook page at facebook.com/ScottRobertsWeb, where I give a lot of the blog updates that I do, in addition to updates on the weekly Firecast and whatever other kind of spicy news is out there. I will post sporadic stuff. So take a look at that and join in the discussion. And if you haven't visited my blog in a while, my blog is scottrobertsweb.com, where I give product reviews, I post industry news, and cover the whole world of spicy foods, hot sauce, and barbecue. And if you've never visited there before, I think you're going to love it. And one last thing, if you have any feedback on this episode, you have a chance to win $100 cash. That's no joke. Simply go to twoguystalking.com/Firecast. There is a contact form on the left-hand side of the page. Type in your information, give some real solid feedback, whether it be positive or negative. A little bit more than just, you rock or I hate you. No, give some salient, some substantial feedback. Do that, you'll be put in the running to win $100 cash. And the same with any of the other podcasts on the Two Guys Talking Network. Take a listen to those, provide feedback on their particular pages on twoguystalking.com. And you'll also be put in the running to win some cold hard cash. Very simple stuff. Well, that wraps it up for this installment of the Weekly Firecast. Thanks everyone for listening, and remember, keep it burning.
This has been the Weekly Firecast. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast via iTunes or at the official website at scottrobertsweb.com/weeklyfirecast. The Weekly Firecast is part of the Two Guys Talking podcast network. For more information on other great Two Guys Talking programming, you can go to twoguystalking.com. That's the number 2, guystalking.com. Thanks for listening. And remember, keep it burning.